Good evening, Purple boys and girls. Welcome to Shades of Purple, a Prince podcast. I'm your host, Ronica Crutchfield. On this episode, I'm going to be reviewing and discussing Prince's 17th studio album, The Gold Experience. Now, he wasn't known as Prince when he made this album. He was known as the Love Symbol, or just the Symbol, or as the press called him at the time, the artist formerly known as Prince. So to respect this time that Prince was going through, I'm only going to refer to him as the artist formerly known as Prince, or I might use the Symbol interchangeably, just to respect the time that Prince was no longer going by his name, as a protest to Warner Brothers. Because as you know, he had a big dispute with Warner Brothers in the mid to early 90s. And it lasted the whole 90s because he did not Prince is his name, but he didn't start going by his birth name until May of 2000, which is when all of his connections with Warner Brothers expired. So when this came out in 1995, he was the artist, also for short. So he went by a couple of names, but I'll call him the artist. I also use that name as well because he did use that quite a bit. But before I go into the review, I just put up a post. Me and my husband just finished watching the first Batman movie from 1989. And for those that know, Prince did work on the soundtrack for that movie. And I was under the impression, because I hadn't seen it in so long, I forgot, that there were a few songs on there that were on the soundtrack. Trust, of course, Party Man. There was also another song. When they were at this party, they played the instrumental to Vicky Waiting, and they played a little bit of Electric Chair. You could just barely hear it. It was kind of like, what they call elevator music. But I did hear both of those songs in the one scene at the party. So, and the reason why I say I forgot, because my coworker at this movie theater that I work at part-time, he told me, because I hadn't seen the movie in forever, but he was like, they only played Party Man for 15 minutes and that was the only song they did. But he was wrong. They did play more. I kind of wished that they would have played more songs. I am glad that they played Party Man. I would have wished they would have played maybe Bad Dance a little bit, because that was the number one single that came off of that soundtrack. But yeah, I mean, I forgot how good the movie was too. So it was a delight going back down memory lane, because Bat Dance and that whole Batman era is when I was first introduced to Prince. And so it was just really nice to watch that movie again. We plan on watching the second movie tomorrow as well. Also, I've got some merch coming up. Me and my husband are going to be ordering some Shades of Purple podcast t-shirts. And so once those are ordered, I'm going to put up a post about it so you can kind of see what they look like. And if you want one, they're probably going to be about $20 a pop. So if you want one, you can cash at me, let me know, and I'll try to get one to you, or I will get one to you if you pay for one. So just when I have the design, but it's just basically going to be like the symbol that I have on the podcast page on Facebook and on Instagram, of the record player in purple and yellow. And shout out to Griffin Birdsong, who is my I almost want to say my co-creator, but he actually created the logo for me, and he also works at the theater with me part-time that I work at as well. So shout out to Griffin. Thank you so much for your wonderful design. And when I get my YouTube up and running, for real, I maybe can hire him as my editor. That's what I would like to do in a ideal world, because you guys, I'm going to get to the review, I promise. But this editing crap, oh my God, I see now why people hire editors for their YouTube channels, because it's a lot. It's something that I still want to learn how to do properly. But right now, I just can't really wrap my mind around it too much. So like I said, just continue to give me some grace on the YouTube channel. All of these episodes are going to be on the YouTube channel, but only as audio only. for now. But like I said, I've got some things in store that I hope to be able to work on once me and my husband come back from Paisley, which we're going to be going to Paisley Park in August, and just 1st of August. So only about three and a half weeks from now, we're going to be going to Paisley, and I'm going to go live and try to do some shorts and things like that while I'm there to put on the YouTube channel. So just stay tuned for that. But let's go into talking about the Gold Experience. So there was a lot of discussion on the Facebook page when I asked about, like, what's your favorite track or tracks on this album. So it got a lot of great discussion, and it made me think this album was really popular among Prince fans. And my husband says it's actually one of his favorite albums by Prince as well, or I'm sorry, the artist. So let's get right into it. So the Gold Experience is the 17th full-length studio album by Prince, and the first to be released under the Love Symbol after Prince changed his name in 1993 to the unpronounceable symbol that first appeared on his 1992 album. It was released worldwide in September 1995, 13 months after his previous new release, Come, and 11 months after the Black Album. And I did review both of those albums, so please check those out, those reviews. Okay, so the sessions and compiling. While the bulk of the album was recorded in a condensed time period between September 1993 and March 1994, some tracks date back to earlier recording sessions. Had originally been recorded in mid to late June 1992 for use by Tevin Campbell, but the version included on the Gold Experience was re-recorded in early 1994. And I do like Tevin Campbell's version of but I like Prince's more. And that's just a personal preference. But do check out Tevin Campbell's. And I might actually put his on the Facebook page just so you can check it out and see kind of some of the differences in the vocal. Endorphin Machine and Dolphin were recorded in early January 1993. The Most Beautiful Girl in the World was recorded in late September 1993, soon after the artist returned to Minneapolis from the Act 2 tour, and became the starting point when he began working on the album that would eventually become the Gold Experience in October 1993. Now and Shy were recorded in early October 1993. 319, Billy Jack Bitch, and Gold were recorded in late October 1993. I Hate You was recorded in early 1994. The MPG Operator Segways were recorded between September 1993 and March 1994. We March was recorded at some point, a midpoint between May and July of 1994, but was reworked in early to mid 1995 when additional work took place on the album. P Control, initially known as Pussy Control, was the latest recording to be included on the album, recorded in late July 1994. An untitled album was compiled in early 1994, considered to be an early configuration of the Gold Experience, although it seems to have been intended to be known as the Gold Album, similar to the Black Album. This version included Space, which ended up being on, of course, the Come album, and cover versions of the a Rolling Stones, and it's a Rolling Stones song, and Angie and Graham Central Station. I can't read my handwriting, y'all. The Jam, okay, which is that one is still unreleased, but I think the Jam might be released now. Further configurations took place in March, including Acknowledge Me, which was later included on Crystal Ball, in May and summer of 1994, including Chaos and Disorder, Right the Wrong, which would later be included on Chaos and Disorder, and Listen to the Rhythm, later included on My Stage, Child of the Sun, as the Rhythm of Your Heart, with another configuration compiled on 13th of October 1994. This latter configuration was considered final, but Days of Wild and its corresponding MPG Operator Segway was removed prior to the album's eventual release. So the Gold Experience went through a number of configurations, and it included some songs that would be on Chaos and Disorder and other songs that would be on 1998's Crystal Ball. So for the promotion, the album had been preceded 19 months earlier by the single The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. but this had not been connected to the album at the time. So Prince did the Most Beautiful Girl in the World kind of as a statement, trying to show Warner Brothers that he could make a hit without them. And it was his first number one hit in the UK. And so he did this independently from Warner Brothers to kind of just prove a point that he could distribute it. He could, make the song, distribute it, do everything by himself. And so, of course, Warner Brothers loved the song, and they initially wanted him to put it on, I think was it the Come album they wanted? I can't remember which album they wanted it on, but Prince wouldn't put it on the Come album. So they were a little peeved about that. But anyway, so going back to what it's saying on the Prince vault, the Most Beautiful Girl in the World. But, like I said, this was not connected to the Gold Experience album at first because it was his own single. Dolphin, P Control, and Endorphin Machine have been available as promotional singles in one form or another prior to the album, but I Hate You was the first commercial single released from the album, followed by Gold a few months later. Prince, as the symbol, also toured heavily in 1994, 1995, mostly in one-off shows, but also on the Ultimate Live Experience, focusing heavily on playing tracks from the album. Between the promotional singles and the artist's live performance of the songs, many fans were very familiar with a lot of material before the album's release. At the time of release, however, it seemed that the artist himself had moved on to other projects, and he didn't promote the album much upon release. Because, the artist at this time, he was also, this was another period where he was just, putting out music. And he, his mind was just, okay, it's out, it's on to the next. I think it was Alan Leeds, his old tour manager, that said the way that Prince saw music, and I always saw music, is once it's put out, okay, it's on to the next. Kind of like, a newspaper, like a daily newspaper. Like you read the newspaper on Monday, and then it's going to have different stories on Tuesday. So that's kind of how he saw his albums, they were completely different entities, but, they would come back to back to back because it's just how the music flowed out of him. And he even said in interviews, like, he can't control it. Like, the music just comes to him and he needs to get it out. And then when he needs to get it out, he's got to get it out. And then once he gets it out, he's ready to go on to the next thing. And so that's what he does. So there's that. Okay, so there was a lawsuit, of course, involving the song The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. So in 1995, two Italian songwriters, Bruno Bergonzi, I'm gonna butcher these names, y'all, and Michele Vincino filed a lawsuit against Prince for plagiarism. Bergonzi, yeah, I'm not doing that. And Vocino claimed that The Most Beautiful Girl in the World borrowed heavily from one of their songs called Taking Me to Paradise, recorded by Renard J in 1983. B and V, that's what I'm going to call them, won their case in 2007. This judgment was confirmed by the Supreme Court of Cassation in Italy in 2015, acknowledging B and V as co-writers of The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. Although this decision is only limited to the Italian territory, where the song is banned for distribution. It impacted the status of the Gold Experience in other countries. After Prince's passing, the estate re-released many of the recordings, except for the Gold Experience, because of this legal action. All of his albums were also made available on streaming platforms, including the Gold Experience, but without The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. It was not until February of 2022, after the dispute was settled, that the song was finally put online. On the 18th of June 2022, the album was re-released by the Prince estate. So, unfortunately, we didn't get to hear The Most Beautiful Girl in the World connected to the Gold album until just 2 years ago. I'm glad that whole thing was settled, but when I listened to, because I was able to listen to the Italian song, I don't really see it being plagiarism, but, I might try, if I can find it, I might try to put it up on the page and, You guys let me know what you guys think, but I don't really see that. But like I said, I am definitely biased, as I know a lot of us are. But I just don't want to believe that, that he would be, listening to Italian music back in 1983. Because, what was going on in 1983 for Prince? Purple Rain. Okay, so it was all about Purple Rain. So I don't see him, I don't see it. I just don't. People get inspired by others. I will say that. There's a lot of music out there that sounds like other music because people, think the same way when they put together, compositions and chords and whatnot. So I think sometimes that happens because there's nothing really new under the sun. So I think if anything, great minds might think alike. And I think this was probably more of the case than it was outright plagiarism. But if I can find it on YouTube, I will put it up and you guys just let me know what you think. So let's go into the charts. So the album reached number 6 on the Billboard 200 chart and was number 1 on the Billboard Top R&B Albums chart. It was certified gold by the RIAA 2 months after release on the 7th of December 1995. So let's get right into the track listing. And for those that are new to my reviews, they're not like very academic, I just basically, tell you what it says on the Prince Vault, and then I just give my personal opinion about the song. So the first song on the Gold Experience was P Control or Pussy Control, and I just want to say it's not my favorite. It's one of those songs, I'll be honest with you guys, it's kind of annoying to me. It's not one of my go-to songs. Now, I do like it. In a way, it's kind of a funky song because Prince is rapping and he's kind of, to me, I think he kind of made this song because, gangster rap or whatever, rap was, old school, as we say, old school rap, 90s rap, whatever you want to call it, was very popular at this time. And I think that this was Prince's way of trying to continuously be a part of the rap hip hop genre. And I kind of like the story about, kind of a woman taking control of her own body and, and just, letting people know, letting men know, like, hey, you're not going to, do what you think you want to do with me and all that. So I get the female empowerment part of the song, but I just wasn't too crazy about it overall. Because Prince is, trying to sound gangster, and I don't really consider Prince to be very gangster. And that's not saying that I don't enjoy his rapping, because there are other songs where I really enjoy his rapping, like Face Down. I think that was some of his best rapping was on that song that is on Emancipation. But this song is just like, I don't know. You're like, I'm going to be that nigga. He's just like trying to be like, like this gangster when he's not really that. But I like other songs that are kind of funky and, but he's not rapping, like Scarlet Pussy. It's a really funky song and I really enjoy it. And it's kind of talking about kind of the same thing, but not as far as the subject. And I kind of prefer that over P Control. But like I said, that's just me. I don't know what do you guys, do y'all like Pussy Control or do y'all think it's annoying? But let's go look and see what the Prince Vault says about the song. So in July of 1995, clips of 3 remixes of the track were included on the Versace Experience Prelude to Gold promo cassette given to the attendees of the Versace collection of Paris Fashion Week in 1995. In December of 1995, a new cassette single of P Control was given to attendees of the VH1 Fashion and Music Awards, containing 2 remixes of the track. Now, I might enjoy some of those remixes, and I think I want to say that I've heard the Versace Experience remix, but I got to go back and check it out again. In 1998, the club mix, now simply known as P Control, was included as the 8th track on the 3rd disc of Prince's 20th album, Crystal Ball, the 4th under his symbol name. Okay, so the basic tracking for the original version, known as Pussy Control, took place on the 25th of July, 1994 at Paisley Park. And much like Rippa, I can never say this song right, Rip Goes the Zipper. Yeah, Rip Goes the Zipper. Pussy Control was based around a bass line and a beat created by Sonny T and Michael B, although they are uncredited. Prince premiered the song at Glam Slam, Minneapolis that night by playing it directly from CD during the concert. So Pussy Control was included as the first track, on this album. And then, so I didn't know that he had played it and that the beat actually came from Sonny T, who was his bassist at the time, and then Michael B, who was his drummer. So that's interesting. But like I said, I can kind of take it or leave it. But I see that he did a lot of different, mixes and things like that with it. So that's interesting. So the MBG segue. So there's several of these throughout the Gold Experience album. And I think that kind of sets it aside, or makes it kind of unique among Prince's. I don't know why I said set aside. Sets it apart is what I was trying to say. From some of Prince's other albums, because he didn't really have a whole lot of segues. Like he did in Emancipation, and he did have the segues with Vanessa Bartholomew and the Love Symbol album. So, but this one, he had one, just about every other song. And so the MBG operator segues are a series of segues included on the Gold Experience, spoken by Rain Ivana, a receptionist from the Los Angeles Record Plant recording studio. They are intended as a series of responses to the listener, triggering certain songs being played by hitting keys on a computer board. Keystrokes are often heard on the segues. The operator welcomes the listener to different experiences. Toward the end of the album, some errors take place intentionally, and the operator breaks down before introducing the listener to the final experience, Gold. So recording the segues took place in late 1993 and early 1994, most likely at the record plant since Rain Ivana worked there. And there's also possibly they worked on some at Paisley Park as well. The computer keystroke sounds, the confirmation beep, and the vault door opening sounds heard throughout the segues are taken from a sound library set by the company Sound Ideas. The set is also currently sold as the Series 1000 sound effects library. Other examples of the samples used by the artists that came with the sounds library that are Baby Coo at the end of Delirious, the street noises in Lady Cab Driver, the audience fighting sound and Pop Life, and the sped up horn melody in the intro and coda of Something Fucky This House Comes. So he used this particular sound library before, is basically what they're saying. Various other segues not included on the album were also recorded. Some were included in other tracks, while others were recorded with different purposes. All known MBG operated segues are listed below. So they have a whole bunch of other segues that didn't make the album. So I might also maybe do a link to that so you can see some of what those other segues were all about. So the next track is Endorphin Machine. And I particularly like Endorphin Machine. It's one song that I always go back to because I always consider it to be like one of my favorite Prince rock songs. I love this song. I love Bambi off of Prince, and Dreamer, and a few others. Like Dreamer was on Lotus Flower. But I really, really love his rock and roll. But on the album version, now I have to say that I like the music video version better, with the Top of the Pops. And you can see like Kate Bush's red shoes in the back, and it's all like foiled over because it has more of a rock sound. Because in the album version, you can hear like the little Middle Eastern little chimes in it, and I guess I don't know. I don't like that as much. I really like the more pure rock and roll version. But the basic tracking took place on the 2nd of January 1993 at Paisley Park. The song was played live regularly from 93 to 95, and fans became familiar with the stripped down live version based on the unreleased original version. So in 1993, the original studio version of Endorphin Machine was included in the Glam Slam Ulysses stage show during the segment entitled Calypso. The troupe danced to a slightly abbreviated version of the Arsenio Hall show on the 6th of October 1993. When the album was released, many fans expressed frustration that there were significant overdubs, erasing the raw feelings of the original Endorphin Machine. So a lot of fans like the more rock version of Endorphin Machine as opposed to the version that was put on the album. And so they prefer the live stuff, and I do too. Songs such as Xana Lee and Fury were also overdubbed in their released studio version. So he kind of made it sound a little different in the studio version, but the live version, like I think he did a live version of Xana Lee. But Xana Lee is fine to me on the album. I didn't have a issue with that one, but Endorphin Machine, I definitely prefer the live version of that. But what do you guys? Do y'all like the version that's on the album, or do you like the live version of Endorphin Machine? Let me know. The next track is probably my favorite, if not my favorite. It is my favorite track on the album. So this one is a really, really sexy song, and from start to finish, like, I love the drum solo, I like the guitar solo, I love everything about this song, because Prince being his, sexy self, and I love the lyrics, saying he could be your fire, baby. Like, you don't need to turn on no fire. He was like, I'll be dripping you all over you like a ball of wax. Just relax. And I'm like, it kind of really puts you in a mood. It's one of those, baby making songs that, Prince was known for. So I really, really like it. I play this on repeat all the time. So the song was written and produced by Prince under the pseudonym Paisley Park. Tevin Campbell's version was also included as the third track on the 2001 compilation, The Best of Tevin Campbell, as the third track on the 2005 Rhino High Five Tevin Campbell EP. And the artist played the song live in 1994 in very different arrangement. And he reclaimed the song by including it as the fourth track on The Gold Experience. So basic tracking took place as a live recording from the 14th or the 25th of June 1992 at the Olympic Studios in London, England, while in London for the Diamonds and Pearls tour. So this is a much older track, probably one of the oldest, if not the oldest track on the album. So it got recorded way back in 1992, which was just, 3 years prior to this album being released. So that's kind of cool. When the artist became involved in Tevin Campbell's album I'm Ready in September 1992, this song was revamped along with recording Down, Holly Don't Care, The P, The Halls of Desire, Paris 1798430. 1798430, and Uncle Sam. This is all on Tevin Campbell's album I'm Ready. And then Tevin Campbell's vocals were added. The artist's version was a new version recorded in early 1994 at Paisley Park, and during the same session as I Hate You, Days of Wild, and new versions of The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. So I love everything about the song. I even like the women moaning in the background because it just really sets the scene for you. And like I said, I like Tevin Campbell's version, but I really appreciate Prince's version, but it's much better because I love the guitar solo and the drum solo. It's just awesome. So my favorite song on the album for sure. The next track is We March, and while specific recording dates are not known, the basic tracking took place between May and July of 1994 at Paisley Park. And let's see what else. France or Record Plant. So they did some other types of recording in France and in Los Angeles. The track was included as the fourth track of the third song of the last configuration. Maite stated that Prince had changed the music on We March for the final release. She said on a conversation on loveforOneAnother.com, she said, in creating the song We March, did you have the upcoming Million Man March in mind? While at the march, I remember hearing several positive references to you in that song, and that it conveyed the spirit of the march. Okay, so this was during like I said, a interview with Prince, not with Maite, I'm sorry, to which Prince confirmed an earlier recording date. He said, "We March" was indeed played at the Million Man March, but in fact was written before I had ever heard about the event. So while it was played at the Million Man March, which took place in October of 1995, where he had 1 million Black African American men marching, just talking about, the importance of coming together as men, and, being together as fathers and role models and, all that jazz. And I was really young in 1995, so I don't remember a whole lot about it, but there's a lot of footage out there about it. And it was just a wonderful once in a lifetime. Well, not once in a lifetime. I think they did it again in the early 2000s, but I think it was a little bit different by the time they did it again. But this one was the first time they did the 1 Million Man March. And so he did make the song before the march, but it just made sense to have a song like this in connection to the Million Man March, because the song is talking about, our civil rights and our history and things that we have went through as a people, as African Americans. So it was another one of his kind of protest songs, you could say. But it's a good song. It's a song that I don't necessarily always come back to, but I do enjoy listening. I kind of have to be kind of in an activist type of mood to want to listen to it, though, I'll be honest. So the next track is The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. And a lot of people, I'm going to just say this up front, because a lot of people get it twisted and think that this song he was talking about Maite. No, ma'am, no, sir. He was talking about women in general. And even Maite said as much in her book, that it was not about her. And you see, she's not anywhere in the video for the song. So that's further proof that the song was not about her. So now that I've got that out the way, I do love The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. Now, I will admit, when I first started listening to it again, I had to kind of get back into it. It had to kind of grow on me, because even though I love Prince's falsetto in this song, I still had to really kind of get used to listening to it again, because, we didn't have it. It wasn't on streaming, none of that. So by the time it came available again 2 years ago is really when I really started listening to it more, and I really, really grew to love it. Because I like how, he took all of these different women and just made them feel like they were the most beautiful girl in the world. And another thing that he highlighted was Miss Hale, which was the lady that he did a lot of charity work with. She owned a home for youth, at-risk youth in Chicago, and she has passed as well. But he did a lot of charity work with Miss Hale. She's the older Black lady that's in the video. So I thought that was really, really great. Let's see what else we can learn about it. He sent out, another interesting little thing about this song is, I think around February of 94, I think, or maybe 95, I'm not sure, one of those years. But Prince put out, or the artist, excuse me, put out a personal ad. I think it was in I don't know if it was in, I think the New Yorker or the New York Times, saying, eligible bachelor looking for the most beautiful girl in the world. And so he did that, and trying to get, women to send, their audition tapes for the video for this song. And I thought that was really cute. So a tape containing a 10-minute melody of remixes of the track and 7 other new songs, Interactive, Days of Wild, Now, Poem, Acknowledge Me, 319, and Pheromone, as well as the show given at Paisley Park on the 13th of February 1994, was purchased by some European radio networks. This tape was broadcast in early March 1994 in Spain, Radio Veronica and Troyes in the Netherlands. So the Europeans were able to get some type of packet that contained this song. And like I said, this song was his first #1 hit in the UK when it was released. Later in 1994, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World saxophone version was released by Brian Gallagher on his standalone single, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, containing the artist's original version as the B-side. Around the same time, a gender reverse recording titled The Most Beautiful Boy in the World was sung by Maite, and released as a single, which also contained a Spanish version, which was included as the 12th and final song on Mayte's first and only album, Child of the Sun, released in 1995. So this song has also several versions. In 1995, a slightly different recording of the track was included as the 7th track, 5th song on Prince's 17th album, The Gold Experience. Well, we already know that. So what else? Oh, it's a lot more. May not be able to read all this, but check it out. I might do another link for The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, because it has 1,000 versions as well. And it's been recorded in multiple languages as well. So, the Beautiful remix uses similar production to New World, which is replaced as the B-side for The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. Only authorized Prince to release one song independently, causing New World to be removed. So he was going to do like another packet, which included the song New World, but Warner Brothers wouldn't let him do that. So yeah, there's like 4 pages of information just about this song. So, and I've already told you about the plagiarism with the Italian songwriter. So let's move on to the next song, Dolphin. Almost a year prior to the album's release, on the 30th of September 1994, a promo video for Dolphin was premiered as the first video to be broadcast on VH1 Europe. In early 1995, a rehearsal version of the track by Prince was included in the 7th and final track on Prince's VHS release, The Undertaker. I'm sorry, y'all. I keep on saying I was going to be like, I'm going to respect him and call him the artist, and I'm still saying Prince. So you can imagine how hard it must have been for people to, not call him Prince back in 1994, 95, 93. Like, I would have, if I was working for him, I know he would have fired me. Okay, so the basic tracking for Dolphin took place on the 2nd of January, 1993 at Paisley Park. The track was included as the 8th track on a March 1993 configuration of Come. But like I said, it was, it didn't make the Come album, and it was put on Dolphin. But I think that Dolphin could have been on Chaos and Disorder, because it's kind of, it's a rock song. So I think that it would have fit well on that album, but that's just my opinion. Let's see. Dolphin, there's a story that Morris Hayes, who was Prince's keyboardist for 20 years, and he was his keyboardist at this time as well. During this time, because I think Tommy Barbarella, I don't think he was the keyboardist by the time we get into the mid 90s. Morris Hayes had took over by that time. But they were on a late night with David Letterman in New York. And Dave was basically kind of making fun of Prince and, his whole changing of his name and all this stuff. And so he had, the artist, had a problem with it. And so he told Morris that he was going to cut the performance that he was going to do on the show short, because he didn't want to talk to Dave. And so he said, I'm going to pretend like I shot myself. We're going to cut the second verse of Dolphin, and I'm going to point to my head, act like I, shoot myself. And on the keyboard, he told Morris to do like a shot sound. And then he falls back into Mayte, who's dressed up as an angel. And then he's going to get Coco, his bodyguard, to just come and drag him away. And so I'm going to find that and put it on the page, because he just did not like the disrespect at the time. Because people were making fun of the whole, symbol thing. They didn't understand it. And so they constantly made fun of it. And he did not like David Letterman, making fun of him like that. So he's like, I'm not going to talk to him. I'm not going to shake his hand, is how Morris Hayes described how, Prince's attitude was about it. So, so that's probably the only thing that I can remember that stands out about Dolphin. Dolphin it's a good song. It's not, like I said, it's not my go-to, but I mean, I like the beat to it, and I just like the rockness about it. But, him pretending like if he died, he wanted to come back as a dolphin. Okay, Prince. We know. Yeah. Okay. It's just one of those songs where, Prince is just being Prince, his weird, wonderful self. And, we're just not gonna, it's just songs like this. I know they probably have like some deep meaning or whatever. And maybe I need to go back and figure out what the deep meaning is. But to me, it was just kind of a weird song. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but I do like it. It's a pretty nice little rock song. Just kind of like Now. He did a lot of screaming in Now, which is the next track. I didn't totally get it, some of the lyrics, but I was just like, okay. The only thing that stands out to me about the song is this was a song that he did live when he finally went on Soul Train in 1994. So he never went on Soul Train previous to this. Now, back in the 80s, he did have the time to go do Soul Train a couple of times, but he had never been to Soul Train. And so he came as the artist and he played this song. And like I said, it's also on YouTube as well, but I think he maybe did a few other songs too. But I do remember Now, because that was the song where he had like a cup of, I guess, water or tea, and he drunk it real quick so he could do some more yelling for this song Now. And like I said, I got to go back and look at the lyrics on this song to really kind of get a gist of it. But I'll be honest, it's probably one of the songs that I kind of skip when I listen to this. Even though a lot of people were saying, well, it doesn't have a lot of skips. And it doesn't. The Golden Experience is a very good album. It doesn't have a lot of skips. And if it had any, it would be Now. Would probably be the one that I would probably skip. 319 is another banger that I really like. Another sexy banger. He's, this, I do know that this song was on that horrific movie, Showgirls, that came out in 95. And that's really the only thing that I kind of remember about the song. And I do like listening to it. It's a good song to work out to. I put it on my workout list all the time because it's kind of a fast-paced song. And, he's the horn overdubs I really like on the song, and it's just it's a sexy song. It makes you want to, like it's a stripper song, kind of like Sexy Dancer, but different, if that makes sense. So Prince has said that this track was inspired by American actress Elizabeth Berkley, who starred in the movie Showgirls. So if y'all never seen Showgirls, don't waste your time. That movie is terrible. Okay, it was horrible. But Elizabeth Berkley gave her a whole new last name. Elizabeth Berkley, y'all, if y'all don't know her from that terrible movie, y'all would know her from if y'all watched Saved by the Bell back in the day. She played the big tall girl. I can't even remember her name now because there was Zach. It was her name escapes me. Jessie Spano. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered, y'all. So she played Jessica Spano in Saved by the Bell, the original class back in 1993, the OG classic Saved by the Bell. So that is who she is. So that's all I really want to say about 319. Moving on to Shy. Shy is another song that kind of goes under the radar, but I do like the lyric where he's saying, she's dark skinned and with virgin whites. How did he say it? I gotta go find these lyrics again, y'all. But virgin white. I guess she was dark skinned and had on hot virgin white. I was like, okay, so he do like light skinned women. Anyway, so he's talking about, gang violence and getting retaliation for, shooting somebody, that, somebody gets shot that you loved or, is a victim of gun violence. And so you have to go back and do some retaliation. But that's kind of all I kind of got from it. But I do like, how, he says shy, but I'm not really shy, Nothing is really shy about Prince. He tried to act like he's shy. That ninja is not shy, okay? The next song, Billy Jack Bitch. Another one of my favorites. And he performed this several times. Probably the most well-known performance was at the American Music Awards in 1995 when he was doing that little dance in his MBG shirt. He was getting it. You remember when they did the Cuff It challenge, Beyonce song Cuff It, And they had the Prince Cuff It challenge. Yeah, so it was that. I put that up a couple of times on the page. But he was performing Billy Jack Bitch when for that. So during a recording session with the Hornheads on other tracks, most likely 319 or Strawberries, although this is unconfirmed, while tapes were changed, the Hornheads played their New Dale Inn as well as their arrangement of Thelonious Monk's 1944 composition, Well, You Need It. Prince liked the arrangement and later had them repeat those two as well as the other horn parts. So they took some horn parts from a song by Thelonious Monk from 1994. Let's see, the studio version of the song was premiered at a party at Glam Slam in Minneapolis on the 16th of March, 1994. And I want to say, I think that he made this song. Yes, this track is designed as a retaliation against Minneapolis gossip columnist CJ, full name Cheryl Johnson, who regularly wrote negative articles about the artist. And she was a person who started calling him Cymbalina. Once he changed, his name to the Symbol, she started calling him Cymbalina in the press because, Prince is a small guy. And, being that he was small his whole life, I'm sure that Prince heard everything when it came to all the small, short jokes, but just because, he's small like that. I mean, why do you have to just do that? People are just so mean, and so she went out of her way to, make a statement like that, calling him Cymbalina and other like stupid negative stuff. And so he was basically calling her out for that. That's why he says, what if I called you silly names like the ones that you called me, meaning Cymbalina, just like, when I first heard it though, you guys, I'll be honest, I kind of laughed because I'm like, oh, what? It was just crazy to me. But yeah, so Billy Jack Bitch is real name is Cheryl Johnson. So that's Billy Jack Bitch. I hate you 'cause you're always on my mind. I can never think of lyrics when I'm recording. Like, it is so weird to me. But 'cause you're always ever on my mind. Now, I know this song was about, what's her name? Carmen Electra. Because Carmen said that that the artist actually played the song to her before, she left. When she finally was like, hey, I'm getting ready to leave to go to California. I want to try to, strike out on my own. And so he was like, okay, let me play the song for you on the way out the door. And she said she cried and she was just like, because the artist had accused her of cheating on him. And she claims that, that she didn't cheat on him, that she just simply went out and had lunch or dinner with, a friend of hers who happened to be a male. But I'm like, now better than to do that. And the artist and how he was very, very controlling with his women. So she knew better than that. But, we'll never know if she actually cheated on him or not. But that's apparently what this song was about. And he did an extended version where he really talked about her, y'all. Where he was like, you owe me 1.8 million or more. Which he probably did, because that album, Carmen on Top, sucked. And she sucked out on tour because she opened for, back when he was Prince, during the Diamonds and Pearls tour, when they got over to Europe. And apparently she was not up to snuff, and he did not like how the audience responded to her performance, so he kicked her off of the Diamonds and Pearl tour, and it just kind of went downhill from there. And so I Hate You was just his expression of, okay, I tried to put you on in the music business, I gave you a new name, I gave you, a look, a style, and here you are cheating on me? Bitch, I hate you. But it's a good song, and I think it was one of Prince's last charting songs of the 90s, I believe. I remember like seeing that somewhere, that it was one of his last charting songs of the 90s. Now, he did chart, of course, later in the 2000s, especially when he did Musicology and 3121, but this was the last single that charted in the 90s. It's I Hate You. Okay, so the last song after I Hate You was Gold. And I kind of understand where he was trying to go with this song. he tried to kind of make it kind of like a Purple Rain-ish type of song. And it was kind of that in a way, but I still, if I had to choose between this song and Purple Rain, I'm probably going to go with Purple Rain. But I do enjoy Gold a lot, and I think it was a really good way to end this album. The one lyric that stands out to me is a woman that was 99 years old and the Lord took her soul. And that reminds me of my granny. My granny passed away when she was 99. So every time I hear that lyric in that song, I think about her. And so it's a good song. It's one of those feel good songs, you know. Because it's a very uplifting song, kind of like how Purple Rain was, like, you know, in the middle of he says, in the middle of the fire, there is cold, you know, all that glitters ain't gold, meaning just because it looks good on the outside, it's really pretty, doesn't mean that it's the real thing. And that's so true for so many things in life. And I know that as a celebrity and as a musician, Prince saw this for himself, probably on a daily basis, dealing with people, you know. And so it's a song that's really true, that, you know, there's a lot of fool's gold people and things out there. And so I thought it was a really beautiful song, and I like the arrangement of the song. And it's a song that I would go back to, but like I said, it's not my favorite, but I do like it, and I do like the messages in the song as well. Because, you know, like I said, if he's nothing else, the artist was very practical in his view of the world. And that's something that I've always appreciated about Prince and the artist, is their view of the world being very practical and very straightforward with a lot of things. He did use a lot of symbolism a lot in his music, but sometimes when he would just be straightforward like this, like that, all that glitters ain't gold, you know. I mean, he would just make these very true statements that you could just apply to, you know, your life, whatever was going on in your life at the time that, you know, you thought was something, but it was not what you thought it was, type thing. So that is it for the Gold Experience. Let me know what you think of this review. And I think I got coming up next, I need to get back to rereading Mayte's book, because I do want to do a review of that book. And I also want to do some more top 10s. I might do a top 10, something on Prince's guitars, whether it's going to be his my favorite guitar solos and songs, or, you know, the different guitars that he had over the years, something like that. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, I'm going to do one more episode for the month of July. And August is going to be all about my trip to Paisley Park, which I'm going to be up there on August the 3rd. We're leaving out on August the 1st. We're actually going to be going to Mall of America as well. So we got some things planned. You know, I'm going to have all type of pictures and stuff to record, you know, in early August. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, also the merch as well, the t-shirts. Got a lot of stuff coming up for the rest of the year as well. And as always, you know, let me know what you think of the podcast. And if you want to come on the podcast to talk about Prince, let me know. If you got ideas of subjects that you want me to cover, just let me know that too. So thank you guys for listening. Until you hear from me again, peace and be wild, and may you live to see the dawn. Bye.